Okay, so I just realized that I forgot letter C on the previous notes about a pedigree, and that's, the reason I kind of forgot is we've already discussed pedigrees. So a pedigree is a diagram of family relationships that show a pattern of inheritance. So we use pedigrees with dogs or purebred animals. We discussed how males are square and females are circle, and if they're shaded in, then they usually carry that trait. So yeah, some more examples of pedigrees that I'm not going to go through because we have already discussed pedigrees. Okay. I'm in the homework assignment. There's going to be a link to Tay-Sachs video, and the reason for that is I just know YouTube is just going to block it out because it's from Nova. But in this video that you're going to watch, Tay-Sachs is caused by one letter change. So we have over 3 billion letters or nucleotides in our DNA, and it's brought on by one letter change, okay? And it causes a change in the protein. So this one letter produces the wrong protein. The protein doesn't work right. And what this protein does is that it dissolves fat in the brain. Well, if this protein doesn't dissolve fat or break it down, then fat builds up in the brain and it pinches healthy neurons to death. And it's a very sad disease. It happens in young children. So like, most of them, I should just say, just die before the age of 7. So that's what this video is about. It talks about a family called the Lord family, and just how this unlucky roll of the genetic dice, how it affects this family. Okay, but it's a very rare allele, I should say, but it's more common in certain populations. So if you just talk about the general population, it's 1 in 250 that carried the Tay-Sachs gene, but it's caused by the recessive allele. So both parents have to be carriers, so that means there's a 25% chance that their children would develop Tay-Sachs. Okay, so today's lesson is really on cancer, which is tied into mutations. Cancer is a genetic disorder that affects the cell cycle. In fact, all cancers have one thing in common, and that is uncontrolled cell division or cell growth. And as a result, they develop tumors. Okay, they cause tumors. So, if you know someone that had cancer and they had like a lump and then they went in to get it removed, what they were removing was the tumor. Now, cancer is called cancer because of a horoscope sign of cancer. The horoscope symbol for cancer is a crab. Okay, the symbol for it is a crab, and crabs have pinchers. And so what cancer cells do is they actually grow out of control and pinch healthy cells to death. So that's why cancer is called cancer. But it can be caused by a series of mutations. And you're going to see that in the Brain Pop video I'm going to show. But it can be caused by chemicals as well, called carcinogens. So carcinogens are chemicals that can bring about cancer, like nicotine and tobacco smoke, ultraviolet light from the sun, nuclear radiation, as well as X-rays. So I'm going to show you Tim and Moby. Oh, shoot, I must have closed out. No, here it is, right here. Let me bring it over. Bring this back over this way. Dual screens. Okay. So, Tim and Moby.
This is a tough one, folks. To stay in this game, you'll have to bank it off the polar bear, then through the windmill, down the spiral, and into the hole, all in one shot. Arnold Palmer himself would sweat this one. And this guy is no Arnold Palmer. He's not even an Arnold Palmer. Folks, I'm saying that this guy would lose to a cold beverage. Dear Tim and Moby, what happens when someone gets diagnosed with cancer? From Anastasia and Mercedes. I'm glad you asked, because cancer affects a lot of people's lives, whether it's their own health, a friend or relatives, or even a pet's. It can be really scary, especially when you don't know much about it. The good news is doctors and scientists have learned a lot about cancer, and that knowledge is helping more people get successful treatment. Cancer is a disease that happens when cells start dividing uncontrollably. Every living thing is made up of one or more cells, and we humans have trillions. Each is created through cell division. One cell splits into two. That's how our bodies grow and replace old, worn-out cells. Normally, cells follow a set of rules so that new ones are made only when and where they're needed. These rules are written into your genetic code in a molecule called DNA. It's packed into every cell, and it has all of the instructions for building and maintaining your body. Every time a cell is born, it gets its own copy of the DNA instruction manual. But occasionally, there will be a mistake. These mutations can occur while DNA is being copied during cell division, or from damage that happens later on. Fortunately, our cells are really good at finding and fixing these errors. Even when a single mutation slips by, it usually isn't a big deal. The mistake will get copied into new cells without causing any problems. But over time, multiple mutations can build up. If there are enough mistakes in the rules for cell division, cancer can arise. The cell will divide when it's not supposed to, or it won't stop when it should. In many cancers, this creates a tumor, a lump of abnormal cells. As the cells keep dividing, they can become more disruptive, and cancer cells may start to spread to new areas of the body. This process, called metastasis, is how cancer can get really dangerous. As it spreads, it interferes with the body's ordinary functions. In the lungs, cancer interferes with breathing. In the stomach, it can get in the way of digesting food. The more it spreads, the more difficult it is to treat. That's why catching cancer early is so important. Right, and it can be frightening to find some new spot or bump on your body. Don't worry, these things are almost never cancer, especially in kids. Childhood cancers are rare because our DNA hasn't had time to build up a lot of mistakes. But as people get older, it's not a bad idea to look out for this stuff. Most times, doctors rule out anything a patient finds as a freckle or whatever. But if they're not sure, they may take a small sample of tissue called a biopsy, or order a body scan, an image of what's happening inside the body. Most lumps turn out to be benign tumors, a harmless mass of cells. If it does turn out to be cancer, location has a lot to do with how dangerous it is. Skin tumors are easier to catch early and treat since they're right on the surface, while tumors deep inside are more likely to go unnoticed and spread. In some cases, the patient can have surgery and recover quickly. Even tumors that are harmful or malignant can often be removed with surgery if they're detected early. Many times, cancer treatment plans also include chemotherapy or chemo. These are drugs that interfere with cell division, which cancer cells thrive on. Unfortunately, that also affects healthy tissue, especially cells in the gut and hair roots, since they're supposed to divide a lot. That's why patients on chemo often lose hair. They also tend to lose weight and can feel nauseous. Doctors may also prescribe radiation, which uses high energy waves, kind of like X-rays. These rays mainly hurt cancer cells, but can affect healthy cells too. Patients often feel tired and have some skin irritation afterward. Both therapies can be grueling, but they've saved lots of lives. Yeah, sometimes patients don't make it, even after long and difficult treatments. Saying goodbye can be one of the hardest things you'll ever have to do. Feeling sad or scared, or even angry, is completely normal. Remember that there are people around you who love you and support you. Talking about your feelings with an adult you trust can help you feel better. By the way, cancer isn't contagious, so hugs are just fine. The good news is we're getting steadily better at treating cancer. Over the last few decades, rates of remission have gone way up. That's when the signs of cancer are reduced or disappear completely. More than 90% of children with leukemia, a cancer of the blood, achieve complete remission. That's by far the most common childhood cancer. And researchers are developing safer and more effective treatments for all kinds of cancers. One is immunotherapy, which helps the body's immune system attack cancer cells, just like how it would fight off common cold or flu germs. Yep, support from family and friends could be a big factor in recovery too. So if someone you know is battling cancer, show them that you have their back. They'll appreciate any gesture that you care. Like taking care of things they're too tired or sick to do. Planning something fun to brighten their day. or even holding a fundraiser, like Moby and I. Oh, come on now. Who's going to pay $12 for an Arnold Palmer? Well played.
Okay. So that does it. Your homework is the questions. You can't find everything in today's notes because I shuffled some of my slides around. So like number 1 and number 2 and 3 and 4 actually are from yesterday's notes underneath the genetic disorders, and 5 is from today.